Flashback to 2045. We see a horse walking down an old road, as we see two people on it. As we see Rob and a younger Jade. Jade says, "So then what did you do?" Rob says, "Well, then I proposed to her." Jade says, "Must have been nice." Rob smiles and says, "It was. I loved her very much." Jade says, "And then the outbreak killed her?" Rob looks like he's holding back, and he says, "Yep. The devil killed her." Jade then sees a deer from far as she whispers, "Dad! Dad!" Rob is in a daze as she says, "Dad, give me the bow." She pulls out a bow and arrow and points it towards the deer as Rob is behind her and says, "Okay, nice and slow. You don't want to scare it, all right?" Jade focuses as she shoots, but she misses, and the deer runs off as she says, "Damn! Sorry, Dad. I guess it's just fruits and bread tonight." Rob says, "That's all right. I could drop a few pounds off anyway." Jade says, "I know, but that's the only one we've seen in weeks. It's getting harder and harder to find these things." Rob says, "It's all right. You know, I had a friend once told me, if you try to take something out and it gets away, there's always someone else that will. Come on, let's go." Currently, in 2049, we now see Rob is the one being hunted, as Rob, Ryder, Mara, and Elara and some of their remaining fighters are running for their lives. As we see the Skull Hunters are right on their trail, as Mara says, "We gotta find somewhere to hide, Mrs. West. They're gonna catch up to us. There's no way we're getting out of this without facing them." Elara says, "We'll figure something out, come on." Rob sees a cave up ahead and says, "There, I'm tired of running, aren't you?" "We're not running anymore. We're gonna go in here. And then, we're gonna lead them right to us." Three miles out from the castle, we see Tugo running through the woods in a panic, as he then drops to his knees, as we then see his armor is covered in blood. As he still hears the gunshots coming from the castle, he looks sad, as we can then see crying coming from inside the mask, as he says, "It's over. It's over. Fuck, it's over." As he then runs away to save himself. Back at the castle, we see blood on the floor, bodies everywhere, as we see blood running down Vel's face as she says, "You're gonna fucking burn for this!" Ragnar says, blah, 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 blah. "Oh my god, the same tired shit over and over again. I'm gonna kill you." "No the fuck you won't. If you were gonna do that, you would have done it by now. Because in some fucked up way, Vel, I'm drawn to you, Vel. And there's much more for us to do before this thing is over. Torch the bodies. Leave it where Rob and his crew will find it. We want them to be angry. Anger brings recklessness. Recklessness brings war. War brings conclusion. And after conclusion, we celebrate a long-awaited victory. Let's move out." As Vel starts crying to see her people laying there dead. Back at Wyoming, we see Athena and the other skull hunters are burning the dead bodies of their fallen soldiers, as they then walk up to them and torch them and burn them. As we then see one of the residents walks up to this and says, "Why are you burning them?" Athena says, "Ragnar's orders." The resident says, "So that's it, huh? We don't bury our dead anymore?" Athena says, "Too many fall. Grief has become a day-to-day occurrence. Why in God's name would we stay stuck on that?" We see the bodies burning as they all stand there behind Athena as they watch it burn. One of the skull hunters walks up to the burning bodies and says, "Holy fuck me sideways! Why are we burning them? We don't even bury these poor bastards anymore. Jesus, Murphy! Look, Ragnar wants you in town hall. He's building some kind of fucking something, you'll see." Athena looks intrigued and says, "With Vel there?" He doesn't say anything and she says, "Now what the hell is he doing to that poor girl now?" As she walks away. Back with Rob. We see Rob, Mara, Ryder, Elara, and Kai and the rest of their fighters walking through this dark cave. As Rob turns around to see, there's a deadhead that's been chained up inside. Rob looks at it and says, "No matter how many years it's been, that fucking smell never gets easier." Mara says, "Yeah, it never gets." Out of nowhere, the rock that she's standing on drops as Ryder catches her at the last minute as she is hanging off the edge. As Ryder says, "Come on, take my hand." She takes it as he helps her back up. As Elara then says, "Pay attention to your surroundings, alright, so we don't fall. They could still find us in here." We then see the shadow of Avar and some of the skull hunters walking into the cave as Rob says, "They're on to us. They know we're in here. Alright. Me and Ryder will go left. Elara, you go with Kai and Mara on the right. They'll go for us, alright? Once they do, you sneak attack them from behind. We'll pin them in the back and we'll kill them in the dark." Elara says, "Yeah, come on." We see Avar moving through the cave as we see his men hear noises as he gives them a signal to move in. As we see, one of the skull hunters sees something buried in the cave. As they take it out, as they then hold it up to Avar, as we see, it's an old neon mask that's been destroyed. As Avar looks at this with a bit of an angry look, as they then keep pushing into the cave to find our group. Back in Wyoming, we then see Ragnar sitting on a massive throne as we see people are building him a new throne room as he says, "It's looking good. Definitely gonna add a little bit more order to this place, like we fucking need it. We see one of his guys says, sir, is there anything else we could do? Or anything you wish to add? Ragnar says, wow, I thought you'd never ask. Yes, bring me the girl. As we then see Velhazer being brought out by two skull hunters with chains on her legs, as they then tie her to the throne, as she then tries to run, as they then knock her down, but then we see her head bleeding on the right side of her face. Ragnar then says, No. We can't have you running off on us now. Vel says, do I look like a fucking pet to you? Ragnar says, perhaps not. However, I am one pet short. So, on the topic of fucking pets, you will have to do the trick. Now sit. She says, fuck you, you fucking fucktard. Ragnar pushes her down and says, good girl. Now you must be hungry. Vel says, yeah, for fucking revenge. My fucking eye is killing me there, fuckhead. Ragnar says, I see. Well, let me feed you. Unfortunately, Frost isn't here to accompany me anymore, so you'll have to do. They give her dog treats, as Vel says, No, there's no fucking way I'm eating that. Do you see me barking, motherfucker? Ragnar says, well, I mean, that big bark of yours. Anyway, that's besides the point. The thing I love about you, Vel, you're not silent like a little mouse. And I like the ones that express themselves. Now you will eat these fucking things, or I will pluck that other eye out of yours and you won't be able to see it all. Vel says, yeah, I might be fucking better off not seeing this shit. Oh, just wait, motherfucker. Just fucking wait. We then see she has to eat them, as she then starts eating all of the dog treats, as the skull hunters are smiling, as Ragnar says, damn, that girl can swallow. I remember that. As we then see Ragnar is being fed some fresh grapes, as Ragnar says, Vel, my chair is so comfortable. I almost don't want to get up. Hey, Vel, would you be a dear and kindly feed me those grapes? Vel looks pissed as she then takes the grapes and passes it to him, as he says, When I said feed, I did mean feed. You must feed me these grapes, not play catch with one of them. She then looks at him with a death stare as she then feeds him multiple grapes as she then puts it in his mouth. Ragnar then says, yeah, Frost, you will be missed. But I have a feeling this new relationship is going to work out very well. Vel says, just wait till my fucking people find you. You're going to regret the day you've ever come across us, you fucktard. Ragnar says, oh, don't worry, they'll be joining us soon. They won't be as fortunate as you are, but Vel says, what the fucking fuck does that fucking mean? Ragnar says, oh, well, they're out there somewhere. And darling, it's only a matter of time before they come crawling back. You see, they think they're getting away. But I've got men tracking them right now to assure they won't get far. Back at the caves, we see Eivor walking through as he then turns the corner. They find Rob and Ryder as they point their weapons as Rob says, alright, you got us, okay? Eivor says, Ragnar, I bring you back to Ragnar. Rob says, Huh. A road trip, huh? Well, that sounds like a great idea. The problem is, Elara, Mara, and Kai sneak up behind him, as Rob says, my invitation just closed. As they then run at Eivor's men, as they then tackle them, as Elara stabs one in the neck, as Rob kicks another one, as Ryder then gets knocked down by another, as Mara then stabs the one that knocked Ryder down, as she kills him, but then more skull hunters come into the cave and take everyone down. Rob has a knife to his throat, as he then looks at everyone, tackled down and says, I'm sorry. Out of nowhere, we see all of the men get shot in the head, as we then see Tugo runs in with his gun and kills them all. Eivor sees this and runs for his life. Tugo sees this and tries running after him. Eivor then falls off the edge, off into the cave, as we then see him fall into the darkness. Rob then stops Tugo and says, he's gone. It would take forever to find him. How the hell did you survive? Tugo says, oh, it's good to see you, Rockstar. I don't know. but we gotta get the hell out of here. Vel, her people, they're gone. Elara says, wait, what? How? Tugo says, Ragnar's crew and his band of dicks, they ran through it all. They killed every last one of them, children too. They made Vel watch as they executed everyone. And then they shipped her back. I'm the only one that got away. And if it's any indication, they're probably coming for Lincolnville next. We have to go. Now.
This how the story ends. Heaven and earth, heaven and earth. How could all this beauty come undone? Destined apart, like lines in the stars. Are there still connections?
As we see, the day goes from early morning to late night. As we see them running through the woods, as they've been traveling back for nearly a day. As we see Ryder then says, no alarm, no emergency signal, something's definitely fucking happened. Mara says, you think they attacked? As Elara then stands on this cliff, as she looks terrified and says, no. Rob and the others look scared as they then look out to then see Lincolnville on fire. As we see, Lincolnville has been destroyed. As they stand there, seeing their community is gone. As everyone looks shocked, Rob then says, Art Daniels, you have crossed a fucking line.